tutazungumza sisi kama watu ya Mlima Kenya, na tukiona inafaa kusukuma mmoja wetu, bila shaka usishangae ukisikia kuna mmoja ndani yetu amesimama.
Hiyo ndio thinking ama logic. Hata mimi naweza nisimame hapa basi niseme kuna jamii tu mbili za Kenya ambazo zimetawala, labda ni nafasi ya jamii nyingine pia kutawala.
The president and his deputy have finally met and shared a podium, breaking a nearly 2 months long silence after a lengthy absence from functions presided over by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Deputy President William Ruto has finally showed up for one. The national prayer breakfast political metaphors seemed to be part of the menu served by the deputy president, who insisted on how the BBI reggae stopped. Has the presidency finally built its divided bridges? 14 months to the 2022 general elections. Could Ruto be trying to find allies to back him for his presidential bid, days after a section of Mount Kenya region crowned Speaker Muturi as the spokesman? A move that seemed to have prompted a section of Mount Kenya leaders to convene a crisis regional meeting in 2 weeks' time. We ask you now a question of the day. Do you think the National Prayer Day events impact the leadership of the country? Do you think the National Prayer Day ever impact the leadership of the country? Speak to us and share your feedback through our SMS line 111 or on our social media handles at Switch TV Kenya. Our link on Obogo. Remember to use the hashtag tipping point so we could keep this conversation as interactive as possible. Our guest and I definitely will respond to your comments, answer your questions. We have Sylvia Mulama, a politician, Eric Regalo, a political analyst, and Faith Nora, a lawyer. You can tell from our panelists. There's, of course, a lot to talk about this evening. My name is Lincoln Obogo. Our sign language interpreters tonight are Tracy Dorcas and Teresia Washira. Shall we? Do you guys think these prayer days have an impact on the leadership of the country? We can start with you, Eric.
Thank you. But I thought ladies first. But thank you again, Lincoln. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
And to all the viewers, good evening. I'm happy to share this podium so that we can discuss 1 or 2 things that affect our country. One time I was in secondary school and my set book was Shamba la Wanyama. In Shamba la Wanyama we had the pigs, walikuwa naitwa nguruwe, kulikuwa na njurawa, kulikuwa na farasi, and all of them had some job. And when the meeting was being done of the nguruwe were eating tofa. Tufa ama tofa is the apple in Swahili. So when they had a meeting, they would take the best of the tufa for themselves. And this is what I normally find. If we have a National Prayer Day meeting yearly, why don't we put that day as a holiday for our country? That we all pray for our country and give our country to God. And even starve for that day. Why would you go to a hotel, you're praying, and on the desk or on the table unapata juice ambayo ndio starter, unapata kumewekwa sukari, chumvi, meaning these guys are doing almost a 4-course or 5-course breakfast, if there any like that, in the name of praying for one hunger. And people are dying hungry, but they are praying for hunger while eating, praying for sickness. And you know, sickness comes also from poverty, which again hunger, which is nutrition related. So how do you pray and huku unakula, and the guys you watching you praying, they are watching you eating and praying at the same time? It's rather that I don't know if I never went through social teaching that when you pray you stop everything. You pray to eat. You don't pray or continue praying while eating. And these prayers, I'm telling you, bro, and I'm not so religious to say this, but I don't think they go anywhere beyond the ceiling board. They don't.
You think so? So you think they don't have an impact?
They never have an impact. So what are they praying for? Okay. While they are eating fat.
Thank you, Eric. Nora.
Thank you, Lincoln. Thank you for hosting me. For me, I believe that Kenya, being a country that is founded on religious grounds, as provided by our constitution, prayer is a very important factor. Every Kenyan takes prayer as a very important factor. Of course, we have a few atheists, but as a country that respects freedom of worship and freedom of conscience, that is fine. But majority of Kenyans believe in prayer as a uniting factor. At the moment when we are having so much tension, there are so many challenges that we are facing as a country. Indeed, prayer is an important element that is supposed to bring inner healing, especially to our politicians and also to our fellow Kenyans who are going through a lot at this time.
This is the 18th one. Do you think it has brought any healing so far?
One thing I feel, yes, at least as you have said, you see, it's 2 months down the line since the deputy president and the president had a sit down, and that is something that is commendable. And as Ragalo has put it, if at all we have to have a greater impact, let this prayer day be all-inclusive so that we can have all Kenyans, a Kenyan in Lukesi village, in where I come from, in Saboti constituency, can feel the impact of this prayer day. Whichever religious institutions that are based in Coast region, or they are based in Wajir, or whichever part of this country, every corner of this country, let it be involved in the planning and also in the occasioning of this prayer day.
Do you think politically, Sylvia, do you think politically these prayer days have an effect?
When it first started, which was, of course, post the 2017 elections, it was a good idea at the time, and it brought humility amongst Kenyans. It brought the sense of togetherness for the entire country, and it was a good move. However, over the past few years, it's kind of dissolved into the background, and so nobody follows exactly what is happening or what the prayer day is all about. And I think if we went back to the idea and say, okay, this is why we're doing this prayer, and it's supposed to bring us all together to commemorate where we're coming from and where we're headed. Because right now we are going through a tumultuous situation economically, and the whole country is anxious. And so we cannot say that if you're sitting together as a group of, leadership, praying without involving the entire country is actually having an effect. In my own opinion, it's actually, the political ground has actually moved apart and apart, further apart as we go along. So I'm not too sure what today signified, but we are yet to see in the next couple of days and few weeks.
Conspicuously, ODM leader Raila Odinga was missing in action during the National Prayer Day.
Yes.
Should we read anything of that?
Probably yes. Could be because of BBI, the effect of the BBI voting. I'm not quite sure. However, his missing was significant because he hasn't missed anything, but it could be for personal reasons. So I'm not quite sure. But that was a big miss.
Well, Lincoln, I think the absence of Baba was purely because of a tight schedule. We are aware that next week the president will be touring Kisumu on development agenda, and also Baba will be hosting the president and the whole country for the Madaraka Day. So he must be having a very busy schedule.
Nora, come on, tight schedule. He was seen hanging out, photos surfaced. He was seen hanging out with
presidential
aspirant Mukisa Kitui.
How long does that meeting take?
There's governors in Kisumu to do that.
How long does that meeting take?
I mean, his friend, the President Uhuru Kenyatta, attended, and we have seen them, work together even at night, walk together even in the streets of Nairobi. Eric.
Lincoln, those are mere speculations.
Eric.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I don't want to speculate why His Excellency Raila Odinga wasn't there. But what I can say is that remember there's a time when Uhuru Kenyatta was in Lamu, he was in Watamu. And he never went to Lamu, and Watamu and Lamu is so near. You actually just drive through Kilifi and to Lamu. So one, he could be avoiding a lot of engagement with many people, having just come through a COVID tension. I would say tension because anyone who gets COVID, you know, before you even think of anything, you think yourself like you'll be going the next minute. Prayer breakfast would have brought him near many people, and even him bring a crowd pool, and many people would even have come around for the normal citizens. I saw him in Kisumu.
Where there were more crowds.
There were more crowd,
yeah.
And I'm still very worried for that matter, with his age and some of these people coming around. And we know right now in our country we have the dual strain. It can cause trouble to us. So I don't want to speculate, but what I can say is let's not read so much about Raila missing to pray. He could have prayed alone in the house, and it's better to pray umejificha than to pray with meza imejaa chakula. And even God said in the Bible, when praying, pray to me.
He was there last time.
Yes.
He was there.
He
wasn't at his house.
Yes.
But this time around, he was conspicuously missing it out.
Yes, sometimes you miss. Nowadays, people miss churches, not because they don't want to go to church, just because of the pandemic thing. So even that place alone, it's. Do you want to tell me all of those people who are there were all negative?
Okay.
That is the question I would ask.
This prayer day this year, we've seen and we've noted that President Kenyatta and his deputy have not even been in the public eye for more than 2 months now. And today we've seen them together, walk together, laugh together. Should we expect more of this? Sylvia?
I'm not quite sure. I think this has happened before. They laughed together during the Bromance meeting for the BBI. They've had this meeting which happened a couple of months ago. But things on the ground are not the same. What we perceive in the public, from the public eye, is not the same. All we know is that they are not working together. The president is pretty much leading from the front and performing his duty as an individual, and bolstering through his plans, which is commissioning the projects that they started some years back. Moving forward, I'm not too sure there's going to be more romance anymore, nonetheless.
Nora, do you think, we're going to see more of this bromance like we saw today with the president and his deputy, William Ruto?
Yeah, just like any other relationship, a bromance, it will always have ups and downs. And whatever we have been seeing between the president...
more of downs?
Yeah, there have been more of downs, but still there is hope. And this is the deputy president. He's still the deputy president, so he still has to be there. He still has to be there, especially on such an important day as National Prayer Day, where we are talking about togetherness and reconciliation.
Eric?
Deputy president has been away from so many engagements, and so many engagements we've seen that are a public engagement that we don't see him. Lamu, that was a national event where the Lamu port was being inaugurated. Why didn't he go there? So the honesty is these people are never friends again. They are just meeting just because causes makes them meet. This is a relationship where you are married and you have kids, but you and your wife are not together again. But you will once meet because children are involved. And this is what we are saying. There is no friendship, political friendship, not what another person may think. There is no friendship totally. And they are out alone. Everyone is on his way. And you could see today everyone was having a different suit, different ties. All that went. Everyone reads from their own script. To be honest, there is URP and there is Jubilee, which we are calling UDA, and there is PEP of Moses Kuria, which also working with UDA. We know these things, so there is no friendship here. The honesty is, Ruto will be in Kisumu. He'll be there as a deputy president, and he will be there to welcome the president. Does that mean they are friends? I've been with Raila the longest, and the time Isaac Ruto was hitting us hard, we always said ODM ni moja, hakuna mtu anaenda. We knew Ruto was going. Actually, we were asking ourselves, when is he leaving? But when you come to the public face, ODM was still one. And here, Isaac Ruto, remember Isaac Ruto very well, he was hitting us so hard, that just the same way the guy in Eldoret, Kapseret, Sudi, hits Jubilee. That's the same way. But we in the public eye, we still showed that unity. When Kalonzo was leaving us, we still showed unity. In the boardroom, we knew this is done. It was time when Kalonzo will leave, but we already knew this is done. So in the public eye, there is a lot of friendship. But truly speaking, wait and see. There's nothing here we are talking about. Ruto is gone.
Ladies and Eric.
And gentlemen.
Well, the president and his deputy might be seen smiling. They might read from the same script when it comes to things like national celebrations, like National Prayer Day. And maybe Madaraka, as Eric says, William Ruto will be in Kisumu. We can't wait for that as well. Body language. Eric, I know you're a doctor, but ladies are very good with reading body language. The body language, do you watch the National Prayer Breakfast? Did you watch it, Faith?
Yeah.
The body language between the president and his deputy. What do you read of it?
Closed.
Nothing.
Nothing. There was no relationship. There was no, that cordial extension. We are here for work, and when we're done, it's over. But in all fairness, from a political point of view, and this is by benchmarking from different states and different countries, I think that, you do not supersede your boss in trying to do contrary to what he has planning for. In any organization, wherever you go, you have to have the autocracy clear. The hierarchy is always very clear that this is the boss and this is the deputy and these are the duties of the deputy. From the time when the president elected Mr. Matiang'i to head the rest of the cabinet, that was the biggest signal that yes, I want to get things done, but my deputy is not getting things done with me. And so he moved on, and here we are today. We can see, the whole public knows that the president is working all by himself. He's had to bring in people to kind of get work done. And the deputy president has been left to run the house in Karen, which doesn't have many functions.
What? The deputy president is only running the house in Karen?
Yes, because
which
we don't
have many functions.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's the
Nora,
obvious, and that's
Nora,
what is going, the talk in the
Sylvia
public.
is of the opinion that the body language between the president and his deputy was just poor. Do you agree?
I agree. As I said earlier.
Was it that obvious?
Yeah, it was obvious. It was obvious. As I said earlier, the bromance has gone
Sour.
sour. Yeah, so it's really hard, when a relationship, there are some stages in a relationship where you can try and make things work, but then there are some when it just goes beyond, it goes overboard, and it's just not possible to rekindle whatever was there. So that is where it is at the moment between the president and the deputy president. When this whole thing started going sour, we all know it was because of the lack of loyalty. As what is it? Sylvia, yeah. As Sylvia has said, it's about loyalty. The deputy president has to be loyal to the president, and he also has to understand that his role is to deputize the president. But then when he went overboard, it was so hard for the bromance to continue as it was from the beginning, and that is so understandable. But today being a signifying event, a National Prayer Day, it was important, and I applaud the deputy president at least for putting down his ego and coming for the National Prayer Day, so that he can also show that At least there is hope at the end of the tunnel.
Eric, do you think there is hope at the end of the tunnel?
As a medic, you could see the body language. Someone was shaking the legs and doing the body like this. The signs of anxiousness.
Yes.
I just want to keep myself busy. So because if I stay like this, I might collapse. So what happens? Either I have to wrinkle my hands, shake my legs, move my, or even sing, even if I'm not singing.
Who among the two was that?
You could see Ruto doing that. I mean, I watched. Check the clips. I watched. He was shaking, moving his feet. You know, when you look at this, you
But
read.
his daughter was getting
So
married
you see
on the
this,
same day.
you see these
Yeah, he
mannerisms.
had so
We
much
call them
going on.
mannerisms. These mannerisms actually communicate so much what is happening. You were in school. If someone sits on the chair like this, to the edge of the chair, what does that tell you? Stress factor. That person is stressed up. But if somebody wrinkles and plays the feet like this, that one is anxiousness. You could see. So I'm doing my own thing so that I stop thinking that there's someone near me. So I keep myself busy, whichever way. So if you look at that clip, you will see mannerism at all sorts. And just like I was saying, there's no friendship here. Political friendship is gone, and you can see what happened in Central Region. If Mwaura was okay to be the deputy president, then why is he out?
Now,
Is Kenyatta was okay to be the deputy president, then why is he out? Then why are the friends of the deputy president out in the cold? Whereas some years back, these were the people talking hard and actually communicating for us in ODM to hear them talk. Okay? So why are they out? So that tells you that, boss, you and your people are out. Me and my people are in. So, and why is Mora even more out? That he even lost his seat and was taken by Leshore, somebody like that. Yes. So, Deputy President, he must prepare himself to do it alone in 2022 without assistance of the President.
well, Faith is of the opinion there is hope at the end of the tunnel. Sylvia, Eric says that the deputy president must brace himself for a long journey.
Yes.
2022. Do you think, the fire they started with the President Kenyatta promising kumi zangu, kumi za William, do you think that is going to be rekindled?
That is long gone. That's not even a question on the table at this point in time. The events have superseded the promise, and you just need to look at, first of all, we start the body language, and then we go to the projects on how the president is working. It's all in the public eye, and then we now project to the future. How is this going to pan out? And you see a vice president that is very, very ambitious. Nobody has ever left office to start early campaigns for the next presidency before getting to complete the jobs they have been allocated. You have 5 years, you completed, you have another 5 years. But our deputy president started campaigning as soon as the second term started. So he has eyed the presidency seat by hook or crook before even the approval of the public. So the whole euphoria, unfortunately, is sort of dying down slowly. Even the wheelbarrow aspect of it, the youth are waking up to the fact that really and truly, my mommy never told me that I deserve a wheelbarrow. Let me just be hanging out there.
So all of you think that the deputy president is going to walk a long journey come 2022 without the support of President Kenyatta?
Yes.
Definitely.
Now, according to the deputy president, reggae stopped. Tanga came to oppose, so maybe that's why we don't have more wheelbarrows being given out. Did reggae stop?
That question is tough.
Hold that thought, Eric. We'll come back with that. We now take a short commercial break, but we ask you on our question of the day, do you think these prayer days ever have an impact the leadership of the country? Speak to us and share your feedback through our SMS line 111 or on our social media handles at Switch TV Kenya or at Lincoln Ombogo. The conversation continues shortly. A section of Mount Kenya governors have called for a regional meeting in 2 weeks to align themselves ahead of the 2022 general elections led by Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui and his Murang'a counterpart Mwangi Wairia. The leaders have said they want to restore the region's unity that has recently been divided. The leaders have distanced themselves from National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi's coronation as the region's spokesperson. What is your take? But even before we get to that, BBI, according to Deputy President William Ruto today, BBI, the reggae stopped. Tanga meetings stopped. And I was asking you, Eric, did the reggae stop?
Reggae is a song. The song of reggae will never stop. We got reggae song when we were born. But the BBI itself, truly, and with all honesty, like Eric Ragalo talking as myself, there were so many questions that I needed answered. And being a person who was really a proponent of this BBI, it came a point that I started questioning what was happening. When we were in the committee meetings and we were communicating that we wanted reduction of members of parliament, at no point in time did I hear my colleagues saying that they wanted additional MPs. So when that number came up, I nilishtuka. We wanted removal of the word or the name or the seat called women rep. We never wanted nominations to be done as they are done. I remember we wanted reduction of regions to 14 to remove them from 47. We actually have more governors than the tribes we have in Kenya, which is 42. We had even areas we were quoting, like Siaya. We have a region of just Luos. Siaya, that is just a Luo nation. Then we have Murang'a, just a Kikuyu nation region as a governor. We wanted amalgamation of many counties, like now Murang'a ama Nyeri ingeshkanishwa na Laikipia, ikuwe region moja. They become one region. Kiambu and Kajiado become one region. So that we stop this thing that it's more of a certain tribe. Pokot, those are the things we were talking about. And that was going to bring that oneness as Kenya, where now you cannot say, Siaya County ni yetu. You find ni yenu na meshikana na Busia. We wanted to stop that. We wanted a situation where we have respect of rule of law. That if a judge says this and that's it. I remember we even wanted to have a council of elders in the constitution. Two, like in South Africa, we have the Zulu nation, which they have their leader. This council of these elders, they actually advise the president on cultural and many other things, so that nobody will ever wake up and say, Jaluo hawafanyangi namna hii. Hatuwezi chagua ule mtu kwa hawafanyangi namna hii. That was going to be one of the parts we are going to handle. So
but we did not.
We found ourselves having a bloated government with so many MPs that are coming to be, and that is not what I was part of it. You read the BBI 1, my list, in the list my name was there. BBI 2 to the last document. So when I found some of these things were out, we wanted, I remember seeing medics coming, they wanted Health Service Commission. They gave out their papers and what they wanted. Article 1 says sovereignty remains with the people. So when the people brought the paper that they wanted Health Service Commission, at what point did they remove it? And did they communicate back with the medics that this we remove because A, B, C, and D? They never said that. And that's when the judgment came and said, you did not involve the people. Someone said, how? It was because when you removed them, did you even involve them? Because you involved them when you wanted the ideas. But when you're moving the ideas, did you involve them? So you usurped their sovereignty that you can now decide to remove without telling them, but you took their sovereignty when they were bringing it.
So Eric,
to me,
you agree with the Deputy President, reggae stopped?
I don't agree with the Deputy President because it is political. Me, I'm being honest and not political. We have to just decide if it is wrong. It is wrong.
Is it
wrong?
It
doesn't matter. BBI, it is, I'm going on no. I went no months ago. Okay. I was yes. I went no, and I'm declaring I will vote no should it come.
Thank you, Eric. Nora.
Thank you, Lincoln. I
Did the
believe...
reggae stop?
Okay, before I get there, I believe the BBI had, the proponents of the BBI had a very good agenda. The 9-point pillars of the BBI, they were, they had great proposals that were going to bring a unifying factor in this country, to get rid of the divisive elections, and to also promote inclusiveness and to strengthen devolution. So the BBI generally is a good document. It's just that we reached a point. I have been a proponent of the BBI from the onset, but then I reached a point and I felt that it was too much politicized, and it was being pushed from the top to the people. And that was the main challenge, because as the Constitution stipulates, which is the supreme law of the land, the Constitution stipulates that sovereignty belongs to the people. And for the Constitution to be amended, it must be through a popular initiative, which must be initiated by a private citizen, a Kenyan citizen. Any person can initiate it, but it shouldn't be state-sponsored. And I applaud the judgment by the High Court. It was a brave judgment. The bench was very brave. It came out very strongly to promote and defend the spirit of the Constitution. And I know that the president, in his wisdom, that's why he has also posed in some way. I believe, as a strong supporter of my president, he can feel that the people do not really want this BBI. Even if it was to be forced down the people's throats, it will not go anywhere. So it's just good that we have that honest conversation as Kenyans. I appeal to the leaders so that if at all we were to have an amendment, let it come from the people. Let it be initiated by the people. And the Attorney General actually doesn't have the right at the moment to appeal on grounds of the BBI as the judges held, because if he's appealing on behalf of the president, but then the ground for appealing is that the president is a private citizen or just a normal citizen, then why should he be represented by the Attorney General, who is a representative of the government? So that makes it null and void. At the same time, the BBI itself, if at all we are to use it, because most of the people, the few people, politicians who have been pushing for the BBI have been looking at it as something that will be operationalized in 2022. But then even with the timelines right now, BBI has already been overtaken by events. So by the time the judgment, the appeals will be done, then maybe the petitioners also appeal to the Supreme Court. It will take forever. Then now, when will we have the referendum? Sylvia, when will it be operationalized?
Will this reggae come back?
Yes.
The reggae is likely to come back because, of course, the proponents of it are not giving up just yet. However, we are in a situation where it's been precarious to just discuss BBI because we have COVID. Our economy is in dire straits. That's what should be on the table every morning. How are we getting out of this? There's thousands of people from hotel industry that were fired just like that from last year. They don't have jobs to this day. We have so many companies that have shut down. So when we go back to saying that reggae will come back, I think by the time it comes back, should the appeal by any chance, go through, which I highly doubt, as Faith just expressed it, it should be too late for us to do that. So I think it's a high time that we look forward as a country to sit back at the table and look at what is important and what is critical at this point in time. As a country, we need to have that honest conversation, just as my two panelists are also speaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lincoln, if I add something, if we really are honest with one another, I remember the IPPG You were there. Some of us were there. It was called Inter-Party Parliamentary Group, which brought people from different parties sitting together to look at a way we have a good election. I remember that Karua was there and many other guys. That is what changed the ECK then of Zacchaeus Chesoni to bring the ECK of Kivuitu. That brought us the election of 2002, IPPG of 1997 to 2002. It actually did some changes in electoral system and the system of how to hold election. Because all this BBI thing also goes towards election, because everyone is twisting BBI so that I win. Let's be honest one another. So why don't we have a committee of eminent people who will look at this document? What can go to Parliament and pass it today? Let it be passed. Anything that need us to do a referendum, we will sit down and have a thorough discussion. Because my discussion still remains, I don't need a bloated parliament. Parliament where it looks like a school, where you'll finish Form 4, you don't know the names of your fellow students. Okay? It is the parliament we have today. Ask them if they know each other. Now you add them some more people. Will they even know each other?
We'll bring them here. Now, on a question they ask you, do these prayer days have an impact on the leadership of the country? Speak to us and share your feedback through our SMS line 1114411 or on our social media handles at Switch TV Kenya or at Lincoln Ombogo. And today the Deputy President during the National Prayer Day say that reggae, tanga, all these stopped. Now, this is some of the feedback from those who are watching back at home. Taking oath of both the President, the former Prime Minister, I don't know what they mean. Michelle Mimer, a prayer day symbolizes the ending of logistics laid by His Excellency the President and the Deputy to bring peace in Kenya. How can corrupt leaders perform prayers? They say it's just a waste of resources. Mama Edi watching from Nanyuki. That's my grandmother, by the way. I know. She
Hi,
says
grandmother.
she's keenly watching. Someone else says they're keenly watching. Someone says, I wish the nation could have come before the Lord in repentance instead of holding prayers for the sake of it. Kenya is in the hands of the Lord. Mtu ufunga na kula na kunywa ndio aende kuomba Mungu, lakini sio hataki tu maombi na mapochopocho, hataki tu mapochopocho, hataka tu ni maombi kwanza. Someone says, Lincoln, I think that's hypocrisy of the highest order. Godfrey from Kaganda, Muranga County. Now let's change gears a bit from the prayer day to political realignments, ethnical coronations in the country, especially Mount Kenya region. How much water does Muturi's coronation as Mount Kenya spokesperson hold, Sylvia?
The coronation in Mount Kenya usually holds solid ground. It's because it's a long known tradition since years ago. However, it's kind of been politicized a little bit, you know, like whom do we favor more? But as it stands at the moment, from my own perspective, the division was bound to happen, and Mount Kenya leadership is very strong. They usually go into discussions as one group. And of course, we had this very big faction between the Tanga group and the Jubilee group. So that has had a lot of shift and of dynamics in how their politics are going to be handled. But then I think they've kind of pulled back and said, hey, time is running out. The BBI song is almost stopping. How are we going to make sure that we are part of the next government? Do we even have a president to float? So they are awakening to that fact, which is a good thing. All regions, I think, are doing that. And so it's the possibility of them now saying, okay, we want to go in for leadership. We might not have a president to float, but we can align with whoever we see that can hold the economy of the country. Because Mount Kenya region are pretty much about the economy. And that's something that I've always known about them. It's pretty much about the economy. What are we getting? Our price is going to go down. Can we be able to sell our products? And that's what the rest of us should actually be thinking and gearing towards that, as opposed to thinking, you know, who is going to represent us so that we can perhaps see more cars coming our way. No, it's about the economy. And that's why, you know, last week we saw Musalia Mudavadi visiting the other side, Mount Kenya, And in return, Governor Uhuru visited his office. So we know that there's discussion on the table on how they are going to align themselves. But they're aligning themselves strategically, thinking we need the economy to be revived.
Thank you, Lincoln. Mount Kenya politics, the Mount Kenya region is a great player in Kenyan politics, and it will still play a very important role in the upcoming elections, whether they will field a candidate or not, because of their big vote basket. And what I believe about our president, who is from Mount Kenya region, the way he keeps saying, msione simba amenyeshewa mkafikiria ni paka. One thing I know, the president is strategizing chini ya maji, and yes, and many people do not know what he's up to, but he's actually strategizing. And the coronation that we have seen, Muturi, the speaker, is a very close friend of the president. They have come a long way. He's his long-term friend, and I think that is the confidence that he's having, that he might get the support of the president. But one thing I believe, whether they will field a candidate or not, Mount Kenya will still have a very great impact in the upcoming elections and who will take the seat home.
This coronation and realignment, it's all about PEP, UDA, Jubilee. As a political analyst, what do I read? Under UDA, William Ruto, there are guys who have been put in place in Mount Kenya, looking at the Mount Kenya leaders in UDA. I'll give you an example. When you go to Mbeere, Embu region, where now the speaker comes from, there is Cecily Mbarire. You go to Nyeri, there is Gachagua. You go to Muranga, there is Kangata. Kahata is coming from where? There is Kangata and Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro. You come to Kiambu, Moses Kuria PEP is running the show. So what woke them up? When we went to by-election, the first by-election which I actually participated is when my friend passed on in Kahawa Ndani.
Sorry about that.
And when, as the ODM chairman, Ruiru constituency, I had to find someone to get the seat. So what happened? Jubilee brought the brother to Mheshimiwa, who passed on. And I, as ODM, had to make sure ODM supports Jubilee candidate. And actually, Jubilee candidate won because ODM ilisaidia Jubilee. However, the guy who was brought there, anaitwa Baba Sharon, was really good candidate. And this is brilliance that Moses Kuria has. He brings candidates which is hard to beat. We actually beat this guy with almost 100 and something votes, which was really small. It gives him an impetus that he can win. The same night, Moses won Muranga. Then came Juja. Moses won Juja. So now, what happens? UDA finds that Moses is running the show in lower Gema. So what happens? The UDA people asks Moses to drop his candidate in Kikuyu to another candidate from UDA. UDA want to fight it out and see if they can also get an MP from the Kikuyu nation, which now looks like Moses is running the show. What brings the problem is now Moses is running the show, Gashaguas and the others have more money than Moses. So now that is what is happening here. So it is all about the show. So here is Moses taking away this other side. So now what happens with Gema East, the side of Uhuru Kenyatta? Gema East, now they look for Justin Muturi to take care of Embu, Mbeere. That night or that day before coronation, how many people went to visit Muturi? You remember the men that were there. One was the former senator of that region, forgetting his name, and many other leaders from that region actually went to give him pongezi. So there is no one who has made noise in the Gema East side. Now we come to here, Kiraito is feeling jittery because now someone has taken the show. Kiraito is the head of the Meru politically under Jubilee.
Yes.
With seniority, not that it's obvious that he is. So all these guys now come to Kikuyu Nation. We don't have an actual person. And that's why now these governors are coming together. And remember, Kabogo comes also in here. And it's very powerful. Will Kabogo take the Kiambu people? So this is alignment to guard the whole game and not to move one side, to guard them to stay with the president. So these are kings being made here to work for the main king. You understand? These are just princes being made here. President Uhuru Kenyatta will still be the person. He will still be the controller even post 2022. But these guys are coming to work for him.
We have seen conflicting sides. You know, some support Muturi's coronation, the other side criticize Muturi's coronation. Are we likely to see another coronation before 2022?
Yes.
We are?
Yes.
Now, could you say that things are getting out of hand in Mount Kenya?
I'll give you an example. We had ODM Pentagon. Pentagon was formed to bring the regional balance and to close the regions that the time we are going for election, we have these regions in our basket. So these guys I'm talking about will be there to control the region, not to go away. As it is being seen, PE is taking them away. You see, PEP is already telling guys, my friend, if you sleep, this thing is going.
We have less than 5 minutes. Maybe we can look at the state of devolution since the inception of the new constitution in 2010 and its implementation in 2013. Devolution has been facing a tumultuous moment. MCAs in different counties are sieging governors and throwing them out. Since 2013, 3 have been kicked out successfully and 2 have survived the political onslaught. Right now, Vihiga County is walking through these murky administrative waters, and in Wajir, the battle of the wits is ongoing. The ousted governor claiming a strong political witch hunt is behind his fall, and as a number of MPs defend the new governor, Ahmed Ali Mukhtar, you are watching Tipping Point will now take into stock the state of devolution. Where is this likely headed to?
I think it's headed in the right direction, and first of all, we go back to the point of leadership. When you are elected as a leader, what are your responsibilities as a leader? And we've had a lot of governors failing their counties over and over. Embezzlement from non-performance. So people are realizing that we can actually get these people out. Even though the public hasn't had a chance to do it, but the MCAs have had the chance to do it. Whether they are doing it from the honest heart or whether they are doing it for monetary political reasons is a question, to put on the table. However, we are moving to a stage where leadership will get better. If you are elected to go and perform, go and perform. The Wajir governor, he has fallen short, just like Waititu did, just like Sonko did. They fall short. And it's just to crack the whip. They are not performing, get them out of government, get the right person in. Kenya is a better place than non-performance. We are highly educated.
In Vihiga, for example, the residents want the county government disbanded. Does devolution stand a chance in this country? No.
Lincoln, devolution is one of the best
Final
gifts.
remarks.
Yes, devolution is one of the best gifts that we have gotten from the Constitution of 2010. And the main challenge that is affecting devolution, whether it's going to succeed, whether we are going to enjoy the fruits of devolution to the fullest or not, is the aspect of oversight. Oversight is a mandate that is given to the MCAs to ensure that they check over the balance, to check over and balance the powers of the governors. But now the problem is there is no proper balance of these oversight of the MCAs. Who is oversighting the MCAs as they oversight the governors? There is no one who is oversighting them. And that is a lacuna that is in our constitution. So we need to revisit this matter over, first of all, the threshold and the criteria for impeachment of the governors, and to also ensure that as the MCAs perform the oversight role, yes, they are protected and their role is respected, but then they do not overstep that boundary to the extent of now using it as a privilege to intimidate, blackmail, and bulldoze governors around so that they can meet their demands. If not, they are kicked out. So that is the main issue. Oversight needs to be relooked around. Then also the MCAs. What I'm challenging the electorate, let us look at the MCAs who can deliver. Let us look into their integrity, into their education and skills capacity, so that when they get there, they are just not pawns, political pawns in their party structures. They are just used to vote yes and no and to accept goodies here and there.
Eric, in less than 30 seconds, final thoughts on the state of devolution of this country.
About education, I just want to say in 1 second, we don't need degrees to become MCAs.
Okay.
We don't need masters to become presidents. We need wisdom. So education is a no. 90% of our Kenyans, or even 99, don't even have a degree. Many people have diplomas and certificates. So we'll give a chance for many people who have degrees to rule us, whereas they don't have anything in their head. Give everybody, I have a degree, but give everybody the fair chance. Democracy, we have an issue here. Most of these governors are negotiated democracies. There's no governor we elected. We were given. So if you do wrong against your master, you'll go Waititu left, Sonko left. So sometimes we need to be honest that we have to be left.
When you hear that
work.
music, we have to pay bills. Our political quote of the day. We live in a world where finding fault in others seems to be the favorite blood sport. It has long been the basis of political campaign strategies. It is the theme of much television programming across the world. It sells newspapers. Whenever we meet anyone, our fast, almost unconscious reaction may be to look for imperfections. By Henry B. Eyring. Remember, the views described in the show are strictly individual views and do not portray the views of Switch TV. Many thanks for watching. The conversation continues next Thursday. Good evening.